The end of June 2018 brought a troubling call to the Kalamazoo Police Department regarding one of the student housing complexes. Law enforcement expected a routine welfare check, but the case turned out to be far more serious. It involved the disappearance of 24-year-old Western Michigan University student Anna Mack. For several days, her close friends had been unable to reach her, which was completely out of character for this young woman. Although there were no obvious signs of foul play in her residence, the atmosphere inside raised concerns. Soon, the investigation received crucial information that fundamentally changed the direction of the case and revealed the horrifying truth about what happened to Anna. On the night of June 28, 2018, law enforcement arrived at the Hunter Ridge Apartments housing complex, located in the western Michigan area. This multi-story building with its own parking facility was designed exclusively for student housing. Police were searching for Anna Mack, a psychology student at the local university. Her friends had lost contact with her since the previous week. Anna was exceptionally sociable and actively participated in various activities. During her high school years, she was a member of student council, belonged to the Medical Specialties Association, played in the school orchestra, participated in a support group, and competed on volleyball and softball teams. Continuing her education at the university, she sang in the church choir and performed with a dance troupe. Her sudden disappearance for several days without notice was completely uncharacteristic of her. Anna's friend, Lindsay Watson, was the first to raise the alarm and called the Kalamazoo police. Usually, the girls maintained daily phone contact, but now all calls were going straight to voicemail. Lindsay's concern intensified after visiting the Great Lakes Alternative Research Center, where Anna worked with children with special needs. There, she was told that the girl hadn't shown up to work for 2 consecutive days. This was particularly alarming since she had only gotten this position 3 months earlier and was extremely pleased with her new job. Another close friend of Anna's, Dominic Thomas, met with police officers outside her house. He had managed to speak with the girl's mother, Laurette, who lived in Louisiana separately from her daughter. All three were extremely worried, as Anna had never disappeared without explanation before. Police determined that Anna used a white 2008 Chevrolet Malibu. The vehicle was found in the parking lot near her house, but without license plates. Next to it sat an identical Malibu, but with Anna's plates, though it was registered to a man named Gustav. Both cars had flat tires and clearly couldn't be driven. When officers approached Anna's apartment, they noticed that lights were on inside and the television was running. However, no one answered their knocking. While police tried to establish contact with neighbors and gather additional information, one of Anna's friends revealed that she had been in a complicated relationship with a 25-year-old man named Donovan Lewis, whom friends called Donnie. Donovan Lewis had previously played basketball at the local college and worked as an assistant at the YMCA Center. For a period, he lived in Indianapolis, where he completed an internship at a multimedia company. After returning to Kalamazoo, he took any available work. Most recently, he had been working as a night shift janitor at a large local factory. Police learned about the complicated relationship between Anna and Donovan. Their conflicts had repeatedly required intervention from those around them. In one episode, Donovan poured water on Anna, and once, when she approached his car, he caught her hand in the window and drove off, dragging the girl along. By the time police arrived at Anna's apartment, her roommate Courtney had arrived and agreed to let the officers inside. She explained that she rarely crossed paths with Anna due to their different schedules. They had been living together for less than a year. The housing arrangement had been organized by the student complex itself. Courtney said that she had returned from work early in the morning and then went to the movies. She had last seen Anna approximately on Saturday. At that time, the girl had gone to a graduation ceremony. When she returned home, she noticed that someone had turned on the air conditioner and started the washing machine. Inside the drum were men's clothing and 2 beige bathroom rugs. But in Anna's bathroom, where there was a bathtub filled with water, there were no rugs. Police noted that Anna's personal belongings, items she would certainly have taken with her if leaving, remained in the room. This raised questions, as did the situation with her cars. Both Chevrolet Malibus she used were sitting in the parking lot in non-working condition. If Anna had decided to leave, what transportation would she have used? While officers examined the apartment, they discussed the situation. One believed there were no signs of serious threat yet. Another was convinced that the circumstances were too strange to ignore. At this point, no one could yet imagine how this investigation would end. Police noticed a strange detail. Someone continued coming to Anna's apartment, even though she herself hadn't been in contact for several days. Her roommate hadn't seen her for almost a week but didn't attach particular significance to this. Donovan himself wasn't answering calls. Everything known about him was relayed by Anna's friends. Dominic and Lindsay said he too was trying to reach her, but unsuccessfully. One of the officers found out his mother's address and went there, but no one was home. Then Anna's friend and goddaughter Lavenda contacted police again. She reported that Donovan worked as a night janitor at Stryker, a company that manufactures medical equipment. He finished his shift at 3:30 a.m. He was planning to return to Anna's apartment after work. Police decided to intercept him and return to the Hunter Ridge housing complex. By that time, Courtney and Dominic had already left. No one answered at the apartment, so the officers decided to wait outside. They pondered how Donovan's behavior seemed strange. If a girl had disappeared, her boyfriend should be more worried than anyone. Police were standing by their car discussing their suspicions when suddenly a man in a black t-shirt, beige shorts, and carrying a backpack approached them. Without hesitation, he admitted that he had committed a crime. Police immediately called for backup and began sorting out the situation. The man was arrested, read his rights, and asked where Anna was. He offered no resistance and was ready to tell everything. Donovan said that some time ago he had taken Anna's phone and seen messages in it that deeply upset him. He discovered that she had been having an affair. At first, he tried to cope with this. He told himself that everything was fine, that he could leave it in the past and move forward. They reconciled and for a while everything was fine between them. However, recently conflicts began arising between them again. On Sunday they argued because Donovan couldn't find stable work after returning to the city. Anna stated that he wasn't doing enough to solve his problems. He suggested asking his father for help, but this only infuriated her. The argument continued from Saturday, and on Sunday the tension reached its peak. When police arrested Donovan and put him in the patrol car, he began telling all the details. He admitted that Anna would never return and indicated that she should be sought in the river on the east side of the city. Law enforcement immediately realized that the case, which had begun as a missing person investigation, had transformed into a serious criminal matter. The police officer who accompanied Donovan to the station continued the conversation with him. Donovan offered no resistance and voluntarily shared details. According to his testimony, shortly before the tragic incident, he had discovered messages from her pastor on Anna's mobile phone. He was convinced that intimate relations existed between them, and claimed that Anna was using this connection for her own benefit. He recounted that while he was in another city, the pastor provided Anna with financial support, paid her rent, phone bills, and even provided her with a second car. In recent weeks, this car had been having problems, the tires deflated several times, and on Sunday, when Anna was preparing to go to church, she discovered that the front wheel was flat again. This aroused her suspicions. On Sunday, a serious argument occurred in Anna's residence, caused by the strained relationship with the pastor of Second Baptist Church. This man, Strickland, was not only a clergyman but also a married man, as well as the local president of the NAACP organization. Anna had begun attending his church at the beginning of the year, and gradually their communication began to extend beyond the usual relationship between a parishioner and pastor. According to Donovan, the pastor repeatedly provided Anna with monetary assistance, paid for vehicle repairs, and at one point gave her a second car that she could use. However, soon this car also began breaking down. The pastor appeared more and more frequently at Anna's apartment, picked her up, and once even invited her on a trip to his native state of Mississippi with the church choir. Donovan claimed that Anna had confessed to him that she was using this connection for her own purposes. When she threatened to tell the pastor's wife and others about what was happening between them, Strickland allegedly began threatening her. On that fatal evening, Donovan was drunk. He had barely slept because he had spent all night checking Anna's phone and encountering new messages from the pastor. This finally enraged him. Another argument began between them. Anna said she no longer wanted to see him in her house, got out his suitcase, and began packing his things. According to Donovan's confession, at this moment he struck Anna, causing her to lose consciousness. Then he went to the kitchen, took a knife, and returned to the bedroom. He admitted to inflicting fatal wounds, then put a garbage bag over her and placed the body in the suitcase. Later he carried out the suitcase and left it in a dumpster in the guest parking lot. The next day, already at dusk, he returned, retrieved it using his mother's car, and took it to Comstock Creek on the east side of the city. There he threw the suitcase into the deep current, covering it with dirt so it wouldn't float. Investigators began to doubt the details of Donovan's story. They were particularly troubled by the absence of obvious signs of crime in the apartment. Officers who examined the crime scene found no significant bloodstains, although in such an attack they should have been present. However, upon more thorough examination, large traces were indeed found, on the bedroom carpet, on the edge of the bed, and in the hallway. It was also discovered that cleaning supplies had been used in the apartment to conceal possible evidence. Donovan had thrown the mattress pad into a dumpster near the building, but by that time it had already been collected. Bathroom rugs remained in the washing machine, and he had disposed of his clothing at his mother's house. Anna's personal belongings, wallet, bank cards, and documents, he threw into a trash bin near his workplace. Only part of this evidence could be recovered. Police checked not only his words about the incident but also his statements about the pastor. Strickland claimed that Anna was his parishioner and choir member. He denied any personal connection with her. Later, Donovan admitted that Anna never directly spoke about an affair with the pastor. She only claimed that she was using this situation to her advantage. Strickland said that Anna had traveled with the church choir to Mississippi, where she met a young man and began dating him. However, she already had a relationship in Kalamazoo, so she tried to hide the new romance. According to the pastor, she had saved the new acquaintance's number under his name in her phone so that Donovan, seeing the messages, wouldn't suspect anything strange. About a month after the pastor gave his testimony, he contacted police again. He demanded the return of a white 2008 Chevrolet Malibu, but couldn't prove that the car belonged to him. He claimed he had purchased it from a person named Gustav, but had no documents confirming the transaction. However, this car became the least of his problems. Later that year, serious charges were brought against the pastor and his wife. 3 teenagers from the parish claimed that the pastor had committed improper acts against them. According to one of the victims, he felt he couldn't refuse the pastor's demands because he needed the car that the pastor provided him. Despite the accusations, Strickland continued to remain as pastor. He and his wife denied all charges, claiming their innocence. Meanwhile, public outrage grew, and the church found itself at the center of a major scandal. The investigation carefully studied Donovan's testimony, and detectives developed doubts about some details. In addition to physical evidence, investigators checked other details of Donovan's story. Pastor Strickland, whom Donovan accused of having relations with Anna, stated that she was his parishioner and choir member. He denied any personal connection with her. An investigation conducted by Michigan State Police confirmed that the pastor's alleged crimes occurred from January through May 2018. Text messages and photographs from victims' phones were collected as evidence. In 2023, the pastor reached a plea agreement with prosecutors and pleaded guilty to using a vehicle to facilitate unlawful activity. As a result, he was sentenced to 1 year in prison. Meanwhile, Donovan agreed to show police where he had hidden Anna's body. He pointed to an area near Comstock Creek waterway on the east side of the city. Donovan, who was a good swimmer, had carried the body further into the water and submerged it in a deep spot. The search was complicated by the difficult terrain, so the rescue team deployed boats. Soon the suitcase was found and brought to the surface. After recovering the body, investigators continued examining the area. In searching for the murder weapon, Donovan stated that he had thrown a knife with a black handle into the water near where he had left the suitcase. However, the murder weapon could not be found, despite thorough searching of the area. Anna's family could finally say goodbye to her and bury her. 3 days before trial, Donovan was on a recreational walk in the yard of Kalamazoo County Jail, playing soccer with other inmates. At some point, he suddenly stopped playing and rushed toward the fence. He managed to climb over 2 walls over 4 meters high, overcome barbed wire fencing, and escape beyond the facility's boundaries. Half an hour later, he was captured again. During questioning, he stated that he wasn't trying to escape punishment but was acting out of fear for his family. According to him, his relatives were receiving threats, but he provided no evidence of this. He pleaded guilty to escape. Anna's relatives didn't want to go through a painful trial process, so prosecutors offered a plea deal. At the end of 2018, Donovan pled down to second-degree murder. At trial, he apologized to Anna's family, saying he understood the pain he had caused. The judge noted that Donovan had many opportunities in life and a good education, but he had destroyed everything he had. The court emphasized that Anna didn't deserve such treatment. She shouldn't have had to suffer, lose consciousness, endure an attack, and be discarded like an unwanted object. For this crime, Donovan received 25 to 40 years in prison. He also received an additional sentence of 17 months to 4 years for the escape. Anna's sister said she was satisfied with the verdict because her family found justice in it. She acknowledged that she couldn't forgive Donovan yet, but might find the strength to do so in time. Pastor Strickland, who served a short prison term for using a vehicle for unlawful purposes, changed his name to Floyd Strickland after his release. He continued his work as pastor of a Baptist church in Mount Olive, Mississippi. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Until next time, friends.